The planet Oron-3 was not known for its hospitality. Its rugged landscapes were littered with jagged rocks and steep cliffs, punctuated by the occasional burst of alien flora, hardy, luminescent plants that thrived in the harsh climate. This remote world was the last place anyone would expect to find love, especially between a human and the most feared creature in the galaxy. On a particularly biting cold morning, as the twin suns of Oron-3 rose hesitantly above the horizon, casting eerie shadows over the landscape, Kara stood outside her makeshift shelter, a structure woven from the resilient fibers of the local vegetation. She was not native to this world, her skin too smooth, her body too fragile for the brutal environment. But it was here she sought refuge, away from the prying eyes of the galaxy, away from those who would seek to exploit her or her formidable companion. Her companion, a creature known in whispered tales as a Varkan, slept soundly beside her. To the untrained eye, the Varkan appeared monstrous. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of a large earthbound bear, covered in scales that shimmered between hues of dark violet and midnight blue. Its head was crowned with a set of curled horns, and its eyes, when open, glowed with a fierce golden light. 2. The human arrival. The arrival of Jack, a human, on Oron-3 was a series of unfortunate events that began with a badly calculated hyperjump and ended with his craft, a small one-man explorer ship, crashing a few kilometers from where Kara and her pet resided. Jack had been on a survey mission, charting unexplored territories for the Galactic Union. He was the epitome of a survivor, having faced and overcome numerous challenges across various hostile planets, yet nothing had prepared him for the sight of the Varkan. When Kara first spotted the smoke trail of his ship curving through the early morning sky, her first instinct was to hide. But curiosity, a trait that had gotten her into trouble more times than she cared to admit, won over. She approached the crash site cautiously, her pet trailing behind, its heavy steps causing small tremors on the rocky ground. 3. The encounter. Jack had crawled out of his damaged ship, coughing and clutching a makeshift bandage around his arm when he first saw them. Kara, an alien girl with skin that seemed to capture and reflect the light of Oron-3's suns, and the Varkan, a creature of nightmares standing protectively behind her. His first instinct was to reach for his blaster. His second, driven by the intelligent, curious gaze of the girl, was to pause. She said something in a language he did not understand, a melodic tone that seemed at odds with the harsh environment, and gestured for him not to draw his weapon. "Peace," she finally said, finding the word in his language. "No harm." The Varkan, sensing its master's calmness, settled down, though its eyes never left Jack. 4. A fragile alliance. In the days that followed, Kara nursed Jack back to health. Her knowledge of medicinal plants and her companion's protective presence gave Jack a newfound respect for both. As he recovered, they communicated through a patchwork of gestures, broken phrases, and lots of patience. He learned that Kara was the last of her kind, exiled to this desolate planet by those who feared her control over the Varkan. In turn, Jack shared stories of Earth, of green fields and vast oceans, a stark contrast to the barren, rocky landscape of Oron-3. Through these exchanges, an unlikely bond formed between the human and the alien girl, a bond that was strengthened by the shared loneliness and the understanding that sometimes the most feared creatures were not monsters, but beings misunderstood and mistreated by others. As the chapter closes, the stage is set for an extraordinary tale of coexistence, challenge, and affection, in a galaxy that often favored fear over understanding. The foundations of trust and friendship, once thought impossible between such disparate beings, began to form amidst the alien wilds of Oron-3. The relative peace on Oron-3 was disrupted one morning by the sudden arrival of a Galactic Union patrol ship, its sleek design slicing through the sky like a shard of silver. Kara watched from behind a cluster of glowing thorn bushes, her heart racing. The Varkan stood beside her, its body tense, scales bristling in anticipation of a threat. Jack, understanding the gravity of their situation, signaled to Kara to remain hidden. He approached the landing site alone, hoping to dissuade any suspicions regarding Kara and her pet. The officers who disembarked were of various species, each marked by the distinct uniform of the Galactic Union. "Identification," one of them demanded, a tall, wiry creature with eyes that wrapped partially around its head. Jack complied, handing over his ID chip. "I'm a surveyor. My ship crashed. I've been making repairs." The officer scanned the chip, then eyed Jack suspiciously. "This planet isn't on your survey route. Explain." "I got lost," Jack said, sticking to simplicity. His glance flickered back towards the rocks where Kara and the Varkin were hidden. The officer followed his gaze, then signaled to the others. "A risky diversion." Sensing the impending danger, Kara whispered to her Varkin in a series of soft clicks and murmurs. The creature understood, its intelligent eyes narrowing as it prepared to follow her command. With a sudden ground-shaking roar, the Varkin burst from its hiding spot, charging not towards the officers, but in the opposite direction, drawing their attention away from Kara. Jack seized the moment. "Look, it's just a local wildlife problem, that's all. I can handle it," he assured the officers, hoping his calm demeanor would prevent them from pursuing the creature. Reluctantly, the officers decided against engaging the Varkin, known throughout the galaxy for their ferocity when provoked. They warned Jack about the dangers of staying on such a planet and left, but not before installing a surveillance drone to monitor the area. Nightfall conspiracy. As the suns of Oran 3 dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the rocky terrain, Jack and Kara reconvened. The drone hovered nearby, an unblinking eye in the sky. "We need to disable that drone," Jack whispered, sketching out a plan in the dirt with a stick. Kara nodded, her mind racing through possible solutions. She knew the Varkin could easily destroy the device, but that would draw unwanted attention. They needed a subtler approach. Using a piece of reflective material from her shelter, Kara managed to catch the drone's sensor with a glare of sunlight, momentarily blinding it. Jack, using this opportunity, threw a rock, knocking the drone off balance. It crashed into the rocky ground, its lights flickering out, forging ahead. With the immediate threat neutralized, Jack and Kara sat beneath the alien stars, contemplating their next move. They were aware that the drone's destruction would eventually be discovered, and more would come. "We need a long-term plan," Jack said, his voice low. "They won't stop looking for you or your pet." Kara's expression was resolute as she responded, "Then we must leave Oran 3. There's a place I know, a haven for those who are hunted. We could find refuge there." Jack agreed. The journey would be perilous, across uncharted space and through sectors controlled by various factions, some friendly, others less so. But the decision was made. They would leave at first light, towards a new horizon, each step guided by a bond that had grown in the shadow of adversity, a bond not just of survival, but of deep, unspoken understanding. Their preparations began under the cloak of night, each action a silent testament to their determination to seek freedom and safety in the vast, unforgiving galaxy. Under the cover of darkness, Kara and Jack hastily gathered supplies, stowing away food, medicinal herbs, and essential tools into the cargo hold of the repaired scout ship. The Varkin, sensing the urgency, paced restlessly, its scales catching the dim light of Oran 3's moons. "Just a little longer, friend," Kara murmured to the creature, her hand running soothingly along its massive jaw. The Varkin responded with a low grunt, the sound vibrating through the cool night air. As dawn broke, casting a pale blue light over the rugged landscape, they initiated the launch sequence. The engines of the small ship hummed to life, a sound that seemed too loud in the quiet of the early morning. They held their breaths, hoping the sound wouldn't draw unwanted attention. Navigating the stars. Once clear of the planet's atmosphere, Jack set their course. The coordinates Kara had provided led to a sector notoriously known for its nebulae and asteroid fields, natural phenomena that could provide cover but also pose significant navigation challenges. Jack maneuvered the ship with practiced ease, but the tension between them was palpable. Every ping from the radar, every flicker on the dashboard could mean detection or worse, a collision with space debris. Kara, meanwhile, tuned the ship's sensors to detect any pursuit, Her fingers moved deftly over the controls, a skill she had honed over years of evading capture. "All clear for now," she finally announced, though her voice carried an edge of caution. Encounter with a space convoy. As they approached a particularly dense asteroid field, the ship's alarm blared suddenly, a signal that another craft was nearby. Jack swerved, taking cover behind a massive asteroid. Peering through the ship's enhanced optics, they spotted a convoy, a mix of cargo freighters and smaller escorts, likely traders or smugglers using the asteroid field as a shortcut. "We could blend in," Jack suggested, his eyes scanning the convoy's formation. "Hide in plain sight." Kara agreed, and they adjusted their trajectory to match the convoys. Integrating into the flow of ships, they passed through the asteroid field unchallenged. The convoy provided the perfect cover, their nondescript scout ship barely warranting a second glance from the other crews. A tense alliance days turned into weeks as they traveled with the convoy, sharing resources and stories with the other travelers. Kara found herself drawn to the tales of distant worlds and the hardships of space travel, each story adding to her understanding of the galaxy's vastness and complexity. However, their time with the convoy was not without its challenges. A dispute over trade goods one evening threatened to expose them. The Varkan, ever protective, nearly attacked a group of traders during the heated exchange. Jack intervened just in time, his words smoothing over the rising tensions, his presence a calming force. "We need to be careful," he cautioned Kara later. "Trust is hard to earn out here." Preparing for the next phase. With each passing day, the haven Kara spoke of drew closer. They reviewed maps and plotted courses late into the nights, their conversations a mix of hopeful plans and strategies for what might come. Jack found himself admiring Kara's resilience and her deep bond with the Varkan, her determination fueling his own. In the quiet moments, away from the prying eyes of their temporary allies, they trained together, Kara teaching Jack the language of her people and how to understand the Varkan's subtle cues. Their preparation was meticulous, a necessary precaution for the uncertain paths ahead. As the convoy neared the edge of the sector, they knew they would soon part ways. Their ship pointed toward a new chapter of unknowns in the vast expanse of space. The nebula loomed ahead, a colossal cloud of dust and gas illuminated by the intermittent flashes of distant starlight. Its colors shifted mysteriously, blues and purples mingling with sudden fiery oranges. Jack adjusted the ship's shields, knowing the electrostatic phenomena within the nebula could wreak havoc on their systems. Kara sat at the navigation console, her eyes narrowed in concentration as she plotted a course through the least dense parts of the cloud. The Varkan, perhaps sensing the tension or the change in the ship's hum, let out a soft rumble, its eyes fixed on the swirling nebula. "Hold tight," Jack murmured, guiding the ship into the cloud. The exterior cameras blurred as particulate obscured their vision, the ship's lights casting eerie shadows that danced along the hull. Unexpected sanctuary. Inside the nebula, a silence enveloped them, the usual hum of cosmic radiation and distant transmissions dampened. Kara's voice broke the quiet. "There's something here," she said, pointing to a blip on the radar that had appeared suddenly, as if emerging from the nebula itself. Approaching cautiously, they found it was a station, hidden within the nebula, its architecture a blend of technology and organic design that seemed to grow from the nebula itself. "A way station," Kara explained, "used by those who travel unseen." They docked at the station, welcomed by a community of traders, refugees, and outcasts who thrived in the secrecy the nebula provided. Here, Kara and Jack were just another pair of travelers, their pasts unimportant, their secrets safe. The data heist among the station's residents was an old data pirate named Morven, who claimed to know of Kara's haven, but information was currency here, and Morven wanted a trade. He needed a skilled pilot and a quick ship for a data heist, targeting a corporate freighter scheduled to pass near the nebula. Jack, with his experience and Kara's endorsement, agreed to help. Together, they navigated the nebula's periphery, where they intercepted the freighter. It was a clean operation. Jack's flying and Kara's technical prowess allowed them to siphon off the needed data without triggering a full-scale alert. In return, Morven provided coordinates to the Haven, encoded in a data chip that Kara tucked away securely. The Haven was real, and now within reach. Skills honed back on the station. As they prepared for the final leg of their travel, Kara took the time to further hone her skills with the ship's systems, integrating some of the stolen tech into their craft. Jack, meanwhile, trained under Morven, learning the finer points of nebula navigation and electronic warfare, skills that would no doubt prove essential. The Varkan, too, seemed to adapt, its presence now accepted by the station's denizens, its fearsome appearance a deterrent to any who might think to cross Kara or Jack. Preparing to depart. Their stay at the way station had been beneficial, but the urge to move on, to reach the safety of the Haven, grew stronger each day. They planned their departure meticulously, aware that the journey ahead would be fraught with new dangers. Each system check and trajectory calculation was double-checked, their focus absolute. As they made ready to leave the nebula's shadow, Jack looked over at Kara, her face illuminated by the glow of the navigation screens. "Almost there," he said, a promise hanging in the silence between them. Kara nodded, her gaze firm and hopeful. "Yes, almost there." Together, they stared out at the stars, the vast cosmos, a tapestry of light and darkness, of challenges met and adventures yet to come. As their ship slipped out of the nebula, Kara and Jack found themselves near the edge of the outer rim, a sector notorious for its lawlessness and bustling black markets. The Haven lay beyond this chaotic frontier, nestled within a seldom traversed system where galactic law rarely reached. To safely navigate through the outer rim, they needed updated access codes, which were only available on the black market. Landing on a small asteroid-based outpost known as Clayton's Rock, they blended into the crowd of smugglers, bounty hunters, and exiles that thronged the marketplaces. Jack kept a low profile, his hood pulled up, while Kara, with the Varkan subtly masked as a common cargo beast, negotiated with a cloaked vendor for the codes. The vendor, eyes glinting with greed, exchanged the codes for a rare medicinal herb Kara had brought from Oran 3. A close call. With the new access codes programmed into their ship, they departed Clayton's Rock, not a moment too soon. As they ascended, a patrol of Galactic Union enforcers arrived, scanning the area for fugitives. Jack maneuvered the ship into a cluttered debris field, using chunks of destroyed vessels and asteroids as cover until the enforcers moved on, their scanners missing the signatures of the well-hidden scout ship. In the safety of space, Jack exhaled deeply, his hands steady on the controls. "That was too close," he muttered. Kara nodded, her eyes scanning the star charts, plotting their course towards the Haven. Interstellar challenges. As they approached the coordinates Morven had given them, the space grew denser with uncharted gravitational anomalies and drifting space wrecks, remnants of forgotten conflicts and failed explorations. Navigating this maze required Kara's instinctive understanding of spatial anomalies and Jack's piloting skills, honed through countless close calls. Suddenly, a rogue asteroid, its trajectory altered by a hidden gravity well, barreled towards them. Jack reacted instantly, rolling the ship sideways as the asteroid scraped past, sending shudders through the hull. Kara recalibrated the sensors, adjusting their path to avoid further surprises. Arrival at the Haven. Finally, they reached the coordinates, a secluded planet shielded by a natural electromagnetic field that disrupted standard sensors, making it nearly invisible to unwelcome eyes. The planet, named Refuge by its inhabitants, was a verdant world, a stark contrast to the barren landscapes of Oran 3. As they descended, they were greeted by a diverse community of beings, each with their own story of escape and survival. The leaders of Refuge, a council of wise and experienced exiles, welcomed Kara and Jack warmly, offering them sanctuary and a place among them, integration and new roles. In the following weeks, Kara and Jack integrated into the community. Kara took on the role of a healer, using her knowledge of plants and medicines to help others. Meanwhile, Jack, with his background in technology and navigation, helped strengthen the defenses of refuge, ensuring that their haven remained hidden from the prying eyes of the galaxy. The Varkin, too, found its place, becoming a guardian of the community's outskirts, its fearsome reputation serving as a deterrent to potential threats. Each evening, as they watched the twin suns set over refuge, Kara and Jack reflected on their path. They had traversed perilous space, forged alliances, and faced countless dangers together, their bond strengthened by each challenge. Now, in the safety of their new home, they looked forward to a future where they could thrive, free from the fears of the past, their lives interwoven with the community and each other. Life in refuge thrived as weeks turned into months. The community, a patchwork of different cultures and species, worked harmoniously under the guidance of the council. Kara and Jack had found a semblance of peace, their days filled with purpose and their nights with shared dreams. However, the galaxy outside continued its inexorable churn. A rogue transmission intercepted by the community's communications team revealed that the Galactic Union had not given up its hunt for Kara, or rather the Varkin, whose unique abilities were coveted for weaponization. The news hit the community hard, especially Kara, who had believed she could finally stop running. Jack, ever the strategist, proposed a meeting with the council to discuss potential defenses and diplomatic actions, a gathering of minds. At the council meeting, leaders debated various responses. Some suggested enhancing their cloaking technologies, while others proposed sending emissaries to negotiate with the Galactic Union. Kara, however, brought a different perspective. "We have something they don't know about," she said, her voice steady. "This planet, Refuge, is more than just a hideout. It's a symbol of unity and resistance. We can show the Galactic Union that we're not just fugitives, we're a community worth respecting." Her speech inspired the council and community members alike, galvanizing them into action. They began to prepare, not just to defend, but also to demonstrate their community's legitimacy and sovereignty. Preparing for the worst, Jack took charge of upgrading the planetary defenses, employing his skills to integrate advanced technologies salvaged from the black market. Kara worked alongside him, her bond with the Varkin proving crucial as she trained it to patrol and protect their borders without causing harm. Together, they reinforced Refugee's natural electromagnetic shield, making it nearly impervious to external scans and attacks. The community trained in emergency protocols, turning their peaceful haven into a fortress, albeit reluctantly. The standoff. When the Galactic Union fleet finally arrived, its ships looming ominously at the edge of Refuge's sensor range, the tension was palpable. Through a secure channel, Kara communicated with the Union's commander, offering a tour of Refuge to showcase their community and discuss peaceful terms. Surprisingly, the commander agreed, intrigued by Kara's offer. As Union officers toured Refuge, seeing firsthand the thriving society that had been built, their perspectives shifted. The community's unity, diversity, and the clear signs of a self-sustaining civilization impressed them. A new beginning. The discussions that followed were tense but fruitful. The Galactic Union, facing internal pressures to reduce militaristic expenditures, was swayed by the public relations benefit of recognizing Refuge as a sanctuary planet. In exchange for peace and non-aggression, Kara agreed to occasional peaceful visits by Union scientists, eager to study the unique flora and fauna of Refuge under strict ethical guidelines. As the Union fleet withdrew, the relief among the inhabitants of Refuge was overwhelming. They had averted a crisis through diplomacy and the display of their community's strength and cohesion. Looking ahead. In the quiet that followed, Jack and Kara sat watching the horizon, the Varkin at their side. "We did it," Jack said, squeezing Kara's hand. "We did," she replied, her eyes bright with tears of relief. "Not just survived, but convinced others to believe in us." Their future was uncertain, the galaxy vast and filled with both wonders and dangers. But they had learned that together, with trust and unity, even the smallest community could change the course of their fates. As Refuge continued to grow, now recognized and respected, Kara and Jack looked forward to their roles not just as defenders, but as leaders in a world that had become their true home. They knew challenges lay ahead, but they faced them with the confidence of those who had seen the darkest nights and survived to see the dawn.